Cyberware is a very important part of Cyberpunk 2077, but like I proved in one of my very first challenge runs, Cyberware isn't very needed to beat the game, but I did do the easiest ending to prove it. But what if you turned this on its head and went for the hardest ending, Don't Fear the Reaper, and has added pressure and distractions, as well as just being a fun way to celebrate getting 100,000 subscribers? Wow. I still don't feel anything. I'll also be answering questions given to me by my audience the whole time. So I got a simple build prepared with console commands, and spawned in some of my favorite iconics, and started things off. First question, wubba wubba dub dub. What a phenomenal start. Sure. True? Sure. Aside from Ashura, what are your favorite Pokemon? I think Mimikyu design-wise, as well as just the ability to has to take a free hit up front and gameplay is pretty fun. Big fan of Ghost types. The sword that I always forget the name of, also cool Pokemon. Also helps that it's steel as well, but who's to say? And I have 400 pounds. Whatever you need, Pyrocynical. What's the craziest glitch you've ever seen in Cyberpunk? That one. In terms of glitches, I'd say the funniest, if not craziest I've seen, I'd have to say, no, I didn't die. Okay. I'd have to say, PNG cars, definitely one of my favorite bugs. It gets me every single time I see it. When is Phantom Liberty as Best Girl Rebecca coming? Probably never. I don't like spam playing Phantom Liberty, so. But yeah, I also just don't see with how I decided to end that one. Don't really see a reason for Rebecca to go to Dogtown at all. So I just don't think she's going to. So please don't get your hopes up that it's happening. Don't get your hose up neither. Well, what editing software do you use? Which is harder, getting footage, scripting, or editing? Keep up the great work, you strange penguin person. I use Premiere Pro because I'm an old man who learned it once and now I can't use any other editing software because my brain doesn't like it. And I have to say scripting is probably the hardest part of the editing process. For no other reason than I try to make sure I don't write the same joke over and over and over and over again. And sometimes it's hard because I'll write a joke and it's like, have I already done that one? And then I have to like double check looking back at where I think I've made that same joke from. So I'd probably have to always say scripting just has to be the hardest part. I think it also is the part that takes the longest. Has there been a game you've wanted a challenge run, but the game itself either isn't designed for challenge runs, or is too unstable on modern hardware? Person who asked the craziest glitch. This one again, I guess. They don't want to shoot at me. I'm fine that they don't want to shoot at me, though. I'd say the only game that I've been wanting to do a challenge run on, I'm currently doing a stream series for, being Elden Ring. And the only reason I didn't want to do it is just because it's such a long game. I try to keep like a once every 2 weeks upload schedule, and so when a game's like that absurdly long, it kind of makes me not want to, just because I don't want to break my schedule. Because I've been pretty consistent with it for a long time, outside of taking a little bit of a break in terms of getting a different video out in time, or there's a second, or also just the simple, easy fact of needing to give the video an extra week to perfect it where I want to. Because I'd rather postpone a video by a week than release something that is clearly unfinished. What day is it today? It is, check's phone, Friday, August 22nd. Apart from Cyberpunk, what's some of your favorite games? Obviously, Fallout New Vegas is the best game to ever be existed and or something. The Soul series has a special place in my heart, just because I like that sort of skill expression in a game. But if, oh, sorry, I just fully read the question. Some of the games right now. Marvel Rivals, I have way too much time in. I want to make content for it, but I feel like it's not really going to do well on this channel. And I don't want to make a second channel just for Marvel Rivals content, just in case I get bored of it. I had an ARC phase not too long ago, which has now been broken. I have been freed. And I've been trying to get into a new survival game, but I don't really have one that I want to play, which is very unfortunate. Next question, ass or tits? I'm gonna make a third box that says personality before check marking the ass box. Gonna make it baby friendly, Sandy or Berserker. I'd probably go Sandevistan just because I feel like the Sandy can fit with more builds. While the Berserker is better for melee, I feel like Sandy just has a lot more opportunities. in terms of builds. Now, what was the hardest part of your content creation journey so far? I want to say it was around the 1,000 subscriber mark. I think it was around 900 subs total on the channel. It's going to be a time that not many people remember because it was before I made the switch to the style of content that I do now. Oh man, that guy almost killed me. But I was playing Overwatch 2, was like the main game on the channel, and as I was starting to not like it too much, paired with Microsoft just bought Blizzard Entertainment, and they had just fired a ton of the devs, and I was just not a big fan of that decision. And so I didn't want to support the game any longer because I couldn't support Microsoft just doing that. Because if it was like, everyone was worried like, oh yeah, so they bought the studio, there's gonna be a ton of layoffs. I was like, no layoffs. And they laid off people anyway. So I was like, I don't want to support that. If I'm making content on it, I'm inadvertently supporting that. And I was also just kind of getting sick of the game at that point. I had done everything I kind of wanted to do with the game, but now I'm out of that. Now I'm doing a bit more variety, which I enjoy. I'm doing Cyberpunk. I get to play other games I enjoy of the single player variety. And then I get to stream with friends. So I'm in a much better position, much happier with content creation. What's your least favorite build? I'm not gonna lie, it's net running. Net running is just kind of eh. It's like super powerful too, which is the worst part. If we're talking pure, like just a pure, like the int stat is just not fun. But you can pair net running with a lot of fun options like monowire or smart weapons, which makes it a little bit more fun, honestly. Maybe that's just because I'm big dumb man who don't want to level intelligence. I would believe that to also be a very valuable response. Do you kiss the homies goodnight? Of course. I mean, who doesn't? What is your social security number? No idea. Will you ever do a Quicksilver using the best Sendevistan in the game? My main problem with doing some runs, because people have a lot of amazing recommendations, my issue is I don't want to do a character that I feel like I don't know enough about. I don't want to almost, in a sense, murder somebody's like favorite character, which is why I know people really like the as a character runs, but I always have to do like a lot of research to make sure I don't miss something that would make the character more of a character or better fit the universe of whatever game I'm doing it in, as well as dying here, which would be really bad. Not wanting to do characters I just either know nothing about or just don't have a real strong connection to. So maybe I'd have to do a lot more research on Quicksilver, because the only thing I know Quicksilver from is the X-Men movies. I didn't really read any comic books with Quicksilver in it. What's your favorite Pokemon? Rattatat's pretty cute. What's been your favorite challenge so far? And for the record, least favorite? Favorite, I would have to say, is woohoo. Definitely gotta be Dark Souls 1 using only, or Dark Souls 1 all stats at 1. For the fuck, oh, I hate that I used to be able to hit escape and then do that. Whoever asked my least favorite glitch, it's that, because I used to be able to hit escape when I die and then load a save. Now I can't. And this takes forever, and I don't like this. Mostly because of one, I had to play the game so incredibly different than what I'm used to, which is something I always like to experience when doing new runs. Like for Cyberpunk, I haven't experienced every kind of build that you can do yet. And so getting to just like, you know, okay, this gun fucks. So getting to play around with more of what there is to play around with in Cyberpunk each time is why I like doing different builds for the game. And Dark Souls 1 all stats at 1, I got to play the game very differently, which is always fun. So on that note, for my least favorite would have to be the Captain America Skyrim one. Mostly not because of the run itself, because playing with shields and fists was really fun. It's mostly for the simple fact that I just mostly because, like what I said before, I didn't know enough about the character, and it kind of showed in some of the writing, I feel personally. And some comments did too, as they pointed out, and I cannot blame them, because I just feel like I maybe shouldn't have done one on that character. If you could max have 5 cybernetics from Cyberpunk 2077's in real life, which 5 would it be? Probably none of them, because I don't want to modify my body with Cyberware, not even a little bit. Yeah, none of them. If you want an answer to the question, it'd be something like, I mean, The ones I want are more from just like the actual Cyberpunk game itself, like not the ones you can really get in 2077 Cyberpunk. Like the Cyberware lungs would be pretty cool. Because for better or worse, there's not really any cool cosmetic stuff that you can get in Cyberpunk 2077. And I'd do it more for cosmetics than anything else. How did you learn about Pokemon? What gravitated you towards Oshawott as a channel mascot? It was just on the television growing up, and really liked Ash Ketchum's journey. And I played the games as a kid growing up, started with Gen 5. And I really liked Oshawott from the show itself. He was just very relatable. He was, you know, he was very prideful. He was very headstrong. He was just like me for real, for real. And so when I was making the channel, it was either try to make me, as someone who is not an artist, try to make something as unique as possible, which wasn't going to happen. Or my mind was like, what if I put something that other people would recognize in the thumbnails, like an Oshawott? Because I feel like Oshawott's very recognizable. A lot of people like Oshawott, I feel. So that's why Oshawott became the mascot. So it was either a piece of toast with a face on it or an Oshawott. And I was like, I have a much more fun time cutting Oshawott out of funny moments from the show than I do putting a piece of toast on a screen with a face on it. Which Oshawott do you prefer, Unovan or Hisuian? I feel like I don't like Samurott either way, but Hisuian, fucking fuck. But Hisuian, that one, is not only a water dark type, which is a pretty good combination. It's like a combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. It's also got like a busted move, I think I've heard. So, upgrades, people. What's your favorite build? For Cyberpunk, I just have to say Blades. Blades is just so busted and fun for no reason. I can have range if I'm fighting a ranged opponent because I can just block it back. I honestly didn't go Blades this one just because I know Blades is too easy, which is why I went with Sniper, and I'm regretting that decision as my Sniper is running out of Sniper ammo. When will you be back with the milk? Probably never gonna happen. Length and girth? I like my hot dogs about like, you know, regular sized. You can't have a hot dog that's too big or else it doesn't fit in the bun. What's your favorite Cyberpunk ending and PL ending? I've always been a fan of the sun. I believe that's the one where you do either this. No, yeah, you complete Don't Fear the Reaper. I just think it's the most hopeful ending for V. Even if they don't have a lot of time, they still do what they and Jackie wanted to do. It's as happy as an ending as somebody can get, and if you have like a relationship, they also appear to show that V actually did have like a happy. Not the longest amount of time, but they did do exactly what they set out to do in Night City. And not many people can say that, which makes me very happy for them. What's a run that you did but never got the chance to do / finish? I don't really have any incompleted runs yet. Cross your fingers. Technically, I've had runs that were uncompleted for a time and then I came back to finish. But no video so far yet has reached any sort of incompleted stage. Any video that isn't done at the moment is going to be finished as it stands right now. Will you marry me? No. Is there anything you would do different if you start your channel from zero again? I'd probably say just branching out a little bit sooner. I don't feel like I'm stuck with Cyberpunk just because I still feel like I get a nice amount of views playing any solo game that I enjoy playing for a challenge. But I do kind of feel like I owe the people that subscribe more Cyberpunk content. Just because I feel like I could, because I always want to do the style the way I'm doing it, just because I feel like it's the way that I enjoy to do it, even if it takes quite a long time. Yeah, miss every shot and then throw a grenade. Perfect. At least I killed a man. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd say I would just branch out a little bit sooner because I feel like a majority of you are just here for only Cyberpunk, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Enjoy my content however you see fit. But it does make me feel bad whenever I'm like, ooh, I might have like a month where I just don't upload a Cyberpunk content. A long-time viewer, I think. First time, really enjoyed the run and hope you have a nice week. Question, what was your biggest inspiration? What was your biggest inspiration to start a YouTuber? What? Who was your biggest inspiration to start a YouTuber? And can you beat Cyberpunk as Dexter Deshawn? Biggest inspiration starting out had to be Mr. Vanos Gaming. Love that guy. That's kind of why I started doing things in sort of a funny moment style to begin with. obviously being someone of the can you beat variety, I obviously take at least a little inspiration from the greatest challenge runner to ever exist, being Mitten Squad. May he rest in peace. I'm not an extremist, I just want to beat a run, dude. And I might do a Dexter Sean run. What's your biggest hear me out in Cyberpunk? Hear me out? I wish the game had more bugs in it. Now hear me out. Hear me out, hear me out. You gotta hear me out. It's more, when I say bugs, I more mean to the level of like what you can pull off in, say, like a Yampha video. If you've ever seen Cool Souls Tuber / just general Game Breaker Yampha. Because I feel like, at least from my perspective, outside, like, this game's pretty bug-free outside of like the few every now and again screw ups, which normally don't break anything. They normally just, like, you know, do a funny little, they do like a funny little thing on my screen, and then I'm like, oh, that's really funny, and then it goes away forever. But like, I really wish there were like, you know, it's like, oh man, I can't do insert here for this run, but during this section, like a cutscene section, I either have to or something. It's like, fuck me! On a scale from 1 to 10. About like a 4. How many Johnny Silverhands can you beat at the same time? I think he's probably too strong for me to beat ever, actually, in fact. I just don't think I'm ever beating that guy. He's just too strong a little bit, I think, personally. Do it jiggle ever so slightly. So other than fan suggestions, are there any other characters you would want to do as Cyberpunk runs? I feel like more what I want to do with Cyberpunk runs is the more like genuine, like weird question challenges, such as the with only moving backwards, without moving the camera, and what have you. Mostly because I can do those on stream, and those are a lot of fun to do on stream. I feel like character runs are better if I'm just recording by myself. If I'm just alone in my room, recording, talking into a microphone, not actually talking to an actual person. If I had to like actually pick a character, it'd be fun to do like a Goku run, but I feel like it would just boil down to just gorilla arms, beating things up with my fists. And that's just the entire run. And I mean, that doesn't sound the most entertaining. I've kind of already done that with the Cyber Psycho, and he was pretty strong. That guy's dead. I killed him. He's gone now. How's it feel to be one of, if not the best, Cyberpunk YouTuber? Love the content you do, kick-ass job, and always make me laugh. Keep up the great work. Love every video. I don't think I'm at all... The fuck? I don't think I'm the best. I just think I'm one of the more well-known ones. I feel like more times often than not, smaller creators put a lot more passion and a lot more drive into their work than larger creators do. I mean, I do my best with what I can. I think I do. Like, obviously you guys like the videos for a reason, so I'm not trying to be one of those like, oh, I don't think I do a good job. I think I do a good job. I just think there's other creators, such as one whose name I always forget the name of, mostly because I haven't seen an upload from them in a little bit, which makes me feel bad. There's also Krampus, who did a really good job on his videos for Cyberpunk, as well as his not Cyberpunk videos so far. Obviously, a lot of my friends who create Cyberpunk content always do a great job. I just feel like just because number big doesn't make me biggest, greatest, if that makes sense. I think I do a good job. I just think there's a lot of times where smaller creators do an even better job. I'm like, damn, I wish I could edit like that. But they do a good style, and I like what they do. But I do very much appreciate your kind words. I am absolutely brain rotted trying to frickin' just shoot this thing's arm off. What's your favorite hors d'oeuvre at a party? Big fan of deviled eggs, but I think 9 times out of 10 I'm just I'm a simpleton for pretty much any dip at a party. Like, I don't care if it's guacamole, that's already like my favorite. Like, I'm already just there just for the guacamole at the function. But I feel like deviled eggs is just always my go-to, because it's like the one that's like so hard to mess up. Every other like little snackaroni at a party is gonna have someone's different little bit of flair on it, but I feel like that's not so much the case with deviled eggs. I mean, you can only make a deviled egg so many different ways, right? Why is Johnny Silverhand called Johnny Silverhand instead of arm if his entire arm is made out of metal? Instead of arm and not just hand? I think it's because the hand is the maketh of that man. Because of the fact that he fires his gun with his hand, he plays the guitar with his hand. So I think it's fucking me in the fuck. Why Oshawott when Piplup is a superior water starter? I prefer Oshawott design-wise, and Piplup was already taken at the time by TC Nick 3. TC Nicholas the Third. I feel a lot closer to Oshawott than I do feel to Piplup. No offense to Piplup. And also Water Steel type, if I remember. I don't think Empoleon's Water Ice. Water Steel kind of a weird type that I'm not the biggest fan of. What do you prefer, Vincent or Valkyrie? I'm gonna assume you meant to say Valerie. I think they both have their ups and downs. I think getting to play the game as many times as I have, mostly not skipping dialogue like 80% of the time. I feel like I have a stronger connection to Valerie as a character. Mostly because I feel like Vincent isn't as... How do you say? I feel like Valerie sometimes takes things a little too seriously, and then on the other foot, I feel like Vincent is sometimes just a little bit too much of a goofball with some of his responses. I feel like they both have their ups and downs, but I feel like they both do an amazing job, so I can't really be too upset. Are you losing your insanity? Wonder if you've gone insane, just the beast inside of me? I think I'm still doing all right. I feel like a difficult part about doing YouTube is trying to find out the times of when to do this, that, or the other thing, compared to when, like, what's me time and what's YouTube time. Because I enjoy about 90% of what I do on the YouTube aspect, so it's like, I think the hard part sometimes is finding when I'm working and when I'm not. But outside of that, I'm pretty sane. I feel like that's not at all what your question was meant to be, but I feel like that was a decent answer. You're probably like, wow, Mr. Burrito, thank you for that answer that I didn't ask in the question. I was just more doing something funny, and then you turned it something weird, and I'm like, no problem. Thank you, random citizen. Question, soup? My favorite soup is lobster bisque, or tomato. Not tomato bisque, but like just regular canned tomato soup is pretty good. What video took you the longest to make? Definitely Dark Souls 1 all stats at 1. I've been trying to do Souls challenges for a little bit. If you've watched those videos, you know why I have trouble doing them. But I feel like that one took the longest, not only in terms of editing. It was also, I tried something new because there was an ad on that video, or a sponsor rather. And I put a lot of thought and effort into the writing for that sponsor, as well as trying to do different things, adding like chapters that are actually chapters. It was a really fun video to make though, and I'd definitely love to put that much effort into a video again. I feel like that video needed a little bit more of pizzazz put into it, and it turned out to do pretty alright and people really enjoyed it, so I need to put more... I just need more runs that require that level of pizzazz, if you know what I mean. I'm so thirsty. Something gamer subs. I'm taking a sip of my blowhole. What's your least favorite aspect of Cyberpunk 2077? As someone who's played it for way too long, Act 1 in its entirety. Act 1 is the sloggiest slog that takes me 2 hours every single time. Definitely the biggest roadblock for any run is being like, I have to play Act 1 again. The rest of the game, mwah, chef's kiss. Act 1 is the longest tutorial, and it sucks. Like, once you've played it like one time before, it is just like that part. You know the meme I'm referring to. It's that part of the game. What's one challenge you've seen suggested that you would never do under any circumstances? Outside of what I said before about I don't want to do runs on characters I either don't have enough love for or don't know enough about. There's one I've seen a lot that I know other people have already done. That being throwing knives only. I don't know why this one is suggested so much. Like, I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know what it is about throwing knives that everyone really wants to see me specifically do one. But there's already been, and I know a lot of people will be like, oh, but I want to see you do it specifically. And it's like, that's cool. But you already have, like, Abraham Sandwich has done throwing knives. Gary the Prophet has done throwing knives. A lot of other good creators have already done it. And I don't want to just throw my personal, like, oh, no, I did it, into the mix. I feel like, I don't know. Why are none of the guards shooting at me? What is happening? The last thing I want to do is just simply do an idea that's been done just because people want to see it. If I'm going to do one that's already been done, it's because I personally want to do it. Have you ever accidentally abbreviated Cyberpunk? No. I've seen times when people accidentally abbreviate Cyberpunk and then I just have to cringe at it. Are you secretly a femboy? If not, then why aren't you? In all seriousness, why are you Lars Burrito? Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down. What's your least favorite letter of the alphabet and why? Q? Because if I remember correctly, doesn't like the letter Q only have words that like exist when it's like next to a U? Or am I just like misremembering something in like first grade? Because I feel like I was told a lot of things in first grade that just turned out to not be true. And I was like, well then why did I get told this specifically? Thanks teacher for making me sound stupid all that time later. Stupid teachers not knowing what they're teaching. Stolen valor, teachers, stolen valor. Dude. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The answer of the ultimate question of life, the universe and everything is 42. What is the question? How many times you're allowed to do something immoral and get away with it? The answer is 42. That's why the question is all about everything else. Ow. Dude, what made you want to make videos? It mostly stems from the fact that YouTube has been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember. I'm gonna get hit. I'm not. Oh, you're not allowed to do that, good sir. That's called cheating. That's called cheating. You're cheating right now, sir. You know, like I've been watching like the greats for as long as I can remember. So it's natural that I would want to do the same thing because, you know, it's just been a part of my life for so long. When did you find out that including mispronunciations was entertaining in your videos? It's just one of those things where I don't want people to think that like the entire process of making the content that I make is like a flawless, easy to... I just wanted to make sure it was very obvious to people that making content such as mine isn't like a really super easy process. And I make a lot of mistakes during the entirety of the process. And it also has a couple giggles. So it definitely has some giggles to it. That's a good question. I like that question. I'm gonna have to think about that question. Two bodies I have, they both joined in one. The more I stand still, the quicker I run. What am I? These nuts! Will you ever try to speedrun Cyberpunk? Probably not. From what I have heard from good buddy man, Fury of the CEO variety, it does not seem to be much fun. It just seems like Cyberpunk, but without what I enjoy, being the amazing combat and the story, because you skip 80%, if not most of the story. If you could eat any weapon from any of your runs, which would it be? And what would you pair it with as a beverage? The Slot-O-Matic, because it's just microplastics. I've eaten microplastics before, and I can do it again. I'd probably just pair it with a... don't talk about gamer subs, don't talk about gamer subs. I'd use code LB to... Yeah, I'd probably just pair it like a water. Water with no ice.
Careful! Target has corpse cyberware!
Corpse cyberware my ass! I have a fucking tattoo, bitch! Oh! They spawn up here! They just spawn up here for why and where and what and stuff. Whoever asked the question about the glitch, that one. Will you play Factoro? I don't think Factoro is a game for me. No offense to Factoro or the devs or this, that, or the other thing. It just doesn't look like a game that I'd enjoy. And that's okay, because if things were meant for everybody, then nothing would be enjoyed fully. And I mean that. I hate to sound like a gatekeep girl boss kind of guy, but I feel like things are better enjoyed when certain niches can be filled for certain things. I'm more like games that are first person or over the shoulder third person. If you try to make all games around that specific thing, then we wouldn't have games other people like RTSs. So probably not, and it's probably for the best because it doesn't look like a game for me. Are you excited for Edgerunner Season 2? Yeah. I just really hope that it's not called Edgerunner Season 2. I really hope it's called like Cyberpunk Media or something. I hope it just has like a different name than Edge Runners 2. Or if it's just Edge Runners Season 2. I just don't want it to be called Edge Runners 2. Are you single? Not trying to pry into your personal life, just generate personal life? Personal life, just generally curious. I am a lonely man. I am an adult man who is lonely. Or rather, I'm an adult man who's alone, because I'm never truly lonely. Not because I'm a YouTuber with people that know of my existence. I am merely alone and choose to be because I'm just not looking for a relationship of any kind at the moment. I have friends, I have family, and that's all I need right now. Don't need anybody else but my friends and my family. What is your favorite show? Anything goes. Movie, web series. I've been enjoying the entirety of what Dexter has to offer. I started with the original, and then apparently by the time I finished the original as well as the fuck! Don't neutralize the target. He's actually a really cool guy if you get to know him. So everything from Dexter so far has been great. I haven't read the books though. I'm sure the books are also good, but I know they're very different, which is what I want. I would hate if they were just like a copy and paste of the other. No spoilers for it, but if the newest show ends in a way that I also enjoy, definitely going to do a Dexter run for a game at some point. What kind of socks do you wear? I don't know. I'm not the kind of guy that knows the name of the socks that I put on my feet. Which male Cyberpunk 2077 do you want to make out the most with besides Takamura? I feel like it would be an unhealthy choice to make, but I'd kiss Johnny. Probably not good for anyone's mental health, including my own, but I'd kiss this guy. This guy to get a big old kiss from me. I really like Johnny in this game. I feel like he's... There you go. Hey, whoever asked the question about the glitch earlier, what's your favorite Cyberpunk character? Probably V themselves, honestly. For those of you that don't know and haven't done the Don't Fear the Reaper ending, there are checkpoints that you can actually load. And I always do whenever I do these challenges, so... don't ever feel bad about doing this, because this is part of the fucking game. I feel like V themselves just has a lot that I like in terms of a character. They also just feel very relatable, which I feel like makes them a good main character that you play as in a video game. Do you enjoy Managed Democracy? Only if it's for Super Earth. This is the part where things get like a little bit easy before they get a little bit hard. I hate my life. When will be sponsored by Kirkwood? Probably never. Will there be a Can You Beat Cyberpunk 2077 as a Warhammer 40k Space Marine? Maybe. I'm not the biggest Warhammer fan, so it might be one of those videos that have to do like a ton of research for to make sure I don't botch it. Because like I said before, I don't want to be botching things that people love. Who wins, V or Courier 6? Courier 6 by probably like a country mile. They're a pretty good comparison, though. They both have the ability to either save or not save President. They both have to take on big men that are stronger than they are. They can both use wacky weapons at their own discretion. Actually, thinking about it, maybe V? I don't know, because they can both get Cyberware, too. But they also don't need Cyberware to be strong, with the both of them. I feel like they both have pretty heavy plot armor, too. Oh, I feel bad about that one. He surrendered. Do you take any inspiration from the late Mint Squad? If you do, if not, who did you first watch that gave you the idea to do challenge runs? In terms of doing challenge runs, I want to say that Mint Squad gives me a lot of inspiration. Once again, may one of the greats rest in peace. I want to say I was just watching like a Nurbit video. Everybody knows that really cool Voltorb guy. Voltorb guy. What's the fucking thing's name? It's not Voltorb, it's Electrode. The Electrode man, you know the one. I think I was just watching one of his videos and I was like, wait, why don't I try a challenge run? Because I feel like that's the style of content that does better, something that's a lot more... That's something that has that level of effort put into it. Mostly because I think that content that does well has like a very nice beginning, middle, and end. This is it. This is it. I knew that was it. I knew it. I knew that was it. Do you have a job outside of YouTube? If you do, if so, what do you work as currently? I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I work as a dead man. That's what happens. I work as an alive man. I'm so cool. And do you plan to do full-time YouTube full-time with monetization treats you well? So as of this exact second, I am technically, as the world puts it, dead, unemployed. I have since quit my full-time job to do YouTube, mostly because I was working a part-time job beforehand, and YouTube gives me just enough to be able to support myself and what I'm doing. And plus, I also saved up a ton of money during the before branching off and doing YouTube full-time. Before, though, I used to be a dead man is what I used to be. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm alive. I'm dead. I'm alive. Deli man in a grocery store. Now I am just a guy that makes jokes on the internet. What a transition. It's probably mostly a thing for right now. The monetization has been pretty not bad. I will say, though, it is a tad stressful when sometimes a video doesn't do as well as I'm planning on it doing. But if the growth continues as it's been, I can probably just stay full-time on the YouTube aspect. I'm probably going to try to do more streaming, because I feel like the bit of money that I get from streaming combined with regular upload monetization is a good combo for my wallet. Not only for the amazing people who give me supports during my stream, thank those people very much, but also just I don't make, like, you know, it's not a topic I normally like to touch on unless I'm with, like, I don't want to say people I trust, but people I trust. But I'm relatively well off. I have enough to support myself and do what I want to do. So, while I'm probably not like the richest man in the world or nothing like that, I'd make enough that I don't really have to worry about money as of right now, because YouTube kind of covers me for what I need. Good questions, though. Really good questions. Also, congrats on 100K. It's a massive achievement. Wish you the best. Thank you very much. You were part of that. You're all part of it. So thank you all so much as well for being part of this. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you. So remember that. This is our achievement. Is Cyberpunk your favorite game, or is it Fallout, Skyrim, etc.? I wouldn't say Cyberpunk's my favorite game. It's definitely a game that I like. Probably definitely in like the top 10 at least. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Why do you call yourself Lars Burrito? So originally I went by a different name on the YouTube platform. One that didn't really matter because it didn't go very far. But I really didn't like the name because I felt like it wasn't unique enough. Please don't kill me. Because I felt like my last name was fairly generic, all things considered. And I feel like a big thing about YouTube is picking out a name that is very unique. Because if you have a name that isn't unique, it's kind of, I feel like it's harder to make it, so to speak. Oh. Oh. Why do you call yourself Lars Burrito? Like I said, I feel like it's all about standing out, and I feel like that's just a name that hasn't been a thing before, to my knowledge. The lore of the name is it was the name of my first ever D&D character, and unfortunately he just had a very, very good out there in the open name that I feel like you just ain't gonna see anywhere else. So I feel like any sort of advice I could give for YouTube is just try to have things that make you stand out from the crowd. What was your passion to become a YouTuber? So basically, YouTube is a thing that I've loved for a long time. Like I think I've said before. Boom, 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 boom. I missed the jump button. I did it. You saw me do it twice, but the game wanted me to go fuck myself. The start of doing YouTube was mostly just because the intention was the job that I had. Oh, but the passion also stemmed from the fact that there was a point in my life. I was at a point where I either needed to go away from my part-time job to either get some sort of trade, go to college for some sort of degree, or quit my part-time job so I can go somewhere where I can slowly become like a manager. And so from those choices, I had decided to go more for college. So I went to a different place for a different part-time job, and said different place had really good college benefits, and I got Smasher stuck. Okay.
Survival favors the strong.
Does it, Smasher? Does it really? I thought it favored those who got stuck in the terrain. Like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by Smasher. I started part-time because you had to like be there a certain amount of time before you get the benefits for college. And so in that time, I was like, well, I'm not just gonna sit on my ass and then, do nothing. I want to do something I want to do with that spare time. And so that's when I started to do YouTube stuff, because I've always wanted to do YouTube stuff. I just never really had the spare excess time to do it until that part-time job gave that to me. And then by the time I was about to either go to full-time to try to get a management position or do college stuff, YouTube just kind of started to work out for me. That's when the first Cyberpunk video popped off. And yeah, that's just kind of how it went ever since. Final question, when are we getting the face reveal? I haven't really ever thought about it too much. I know it's a thing that a lot of people tend to care about. Me personally, I don't really... I mean, my face is just my face. I don't use the Oshawott because of any other reason than before then I didn't have a face cam. Now it's to the point where it's like, I feel like the Oshawott does a better job than me of conveying my emotions. Because I feel like a lot of times I'll be like super angry with like the straightest face ever. I feel like, for better or for worse, probably for the better, the Oshawott is here to stay. And I probably won't just like transition to a face cam, because I could just go buy a face cam. But I kind of just like using Oshawott. And or getting something of my own at some point. I know it's something I've talked about during streams. Not replacing Oshawott, but having Oshawott alongside something that is not owned by Nintendo. So probably if I were to ever like go to a thing that were like, if I were ever to go to one of the events that YouTubers go to, and I wanted to meet up with fans, I'd probably do like some sort of face reveal then. But as it stands now, I kind of don't have a reason to. I don't have a need, so to speak. As a guy who just kind of looks like a normal guy, I don't care either way. But since like I said, I just don't have a need or a reason to do it, I probably just won't until I do have a need or a reason to do it. Why did you start doing YouTube, and more specifically Cyberpunk? I answered the first part of that question. Cyberpunk was... Ooh, can't wait to die. So I kind of just started playing Cyberpunk just because at that point I finished the show. And I had owned the game on PC for a while and just never played it. And I was like, I kind of just want to play it. And so I did. So I mostly started Cyberpunk just because I was interested in it. And then not only did I really enjoy my first ever playthrough, like full playthrough of like the newest update, I also just, the video also did well, which was it's like, well, now I gotta do another one, because that's how small creators feel when they have a video do that well. It's like, well, now I gotta keep doing that. And now we're here. That's kind of how that happened in that order. I really enjoyed the anime into really wanting to play the game again, because I'd played like the launch version, which wasn't the best, but especially on a old gen console as well. What number is followed by 6? Probably like 4. What are your expectations of the channel's future? I'd like to branch out slightly. Because like I said, a big fan of doing the challenge runs on this channel. Big fan of doing the challenge runs on this channel for Cyberpunk and not Cyberpunk alike. I will probably keep doing those until, I don't know, I stop enjoying them. But I'd like to, there are a couple games I want to play that I think would be cool for like a blind playthrough, such as the Mass Effect series, because I've never played Mass Effect, and just things like that, because I feel like I have a lot more to offer for YouTube than just challenge runs. I think that is all of the questions, unless there's any new ones. And outside of that, just doing more streams, because you guys said you like the streams. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for your support. 100K is a big number that I definitely couldn't have reached without you guys, obviously. You guys have definitely made this year and last year a big year for me. I finally feel like I don't know what to say. I finally feel like I finally found what I'm supposed to do. I feel as if I had finally found my place in the world, and I thank you guys so much for that. Thank you guys for watching. Share your support however you see fit. And not as always, don't be Adam Smasher.